Good morning, everyone. Mystery Squick here, coming to you in the flesh, well, digitally from the backside of a camcorder, to share with you something that my girlfriend and I have started up somewhat recently, which is a collection of classic Game Boy consoles. Got a pretty good collection going, so I just thought I'd kind of show you guys what we got so far. So we'll start with the top shelf. Here is DMGs and pockets. We have two more that are on the way. We're still waiting for a blue pocket as well as a DMG colored pocket, but you can see what we've got on hand right now. See over there on the left we have three different DMGs, red, green, and an original. There's another one in the back in the middle. It's the only actual copy we have. Duplicate, I should say. That one I actually plan on modding for chiptune purposes. I actually already have the Pro Sound mod ready for it, just need to install it, although I do have a backlight on the way for that one, just to have a little bit of fun with it. On the right hand side we have our current collection of pockets. As you can see right now, we've got an Ice Blue, which was a North American only limited edition release, the Standard Silver, which has been modded for, it's got a Pro Sound mod in it. And then I've got the Clear, one of the standard colors available, and a Clear Purple, which was a Japan-only release. So those are kind of fun to have. The Japan-only one actually only just recently came in. Nice to have that. So we got two more on the way, so we'll have 6 different pockets. No, actually 3 more on the way, because we actually recently ordered a black pocket as well. Of course, right there in the middle we have our lonely Gameboy Micro. It's the only one we've been able to get a hold of. Got a pretty good deal on it. Of course, it doesn't have the original faceplate, which is a little bit annoying. All we have is the orange one. So that's it for that series. Down on the shelf below, we have our collection of Game Boy Color consoles, which is a little bit more impressive. For that, we have, of course, starting with the first 5. It's 5 of the 6 standard colors available in the US. Berry, which has a Pro Sound mod and a front light. Dandelion, Teal, Grape, and Atomic Purple. The only one we're missing out of the standards is Kiwi, which has irritatingly eluded us, which is very annoying. But we're doing pretty well as far as those are concerned. And then here we have a couple of different things. The standard Clear, just straight clear, as opposed to it being sort of an off color. That was a Japan-only release. And then our 2 Pokemon Special Editions, which are awesome. Of course, you'll notice that the power indicator LEDs on both of those. On the one on the left, it lights up the middle of the Pokeball, and on the right, it lights up Pikachu's cheek, which is pretty awesome. Got fantastic prices on those. Like, we practically robbed people for those things to some degree. They were, like, just ridiculously low prices, especially what they normally go for. Down in front, we have our 2 Game Boy cameras. Relatively recent additions as well. Only those 2 colors, although we do definitely plan on getting a hold of a few more. Nice to have those on hand. And then on the shelf below, we have our collection of Game Boy Advances. Yeah. Top center, we've got Indigo. And then going from left to right, we have Spice, with Japan-only orange. The Toys R Us Midnight Blue, that's the opaque, not the clear. White, complete in box. Platinum, complete in box. Not that you can really tell the difference with this lighting. It's like the platinum one is slightly grayer than the white one. Glacier, which is actually the one that I grew up with. I got that thing for Christmas in 2001, I believe, the year that it came out. And Gold, which is Japan only. Let me get in a little bit closer and you can kind of see a little bit more the difference between the white and the platinum. Platinum, of course, is a limited edition. White is one of the standard issue colors available in the States. The 2 that we're missing for the standard colors on the Advances are Fuchsia, which was a clear pink, as well as Black, which is another one that we haven't quite been able to get a hold of. Down in front of that, we got a couple of other interesting pieces of software that we've gotten. We've got a Pokemon Pinball over there on the right, which just came with the manual. Of course, the front page is a little bit bent, but I got it super cheap, so I don't really care. Mario Picross, which came with the Clear Purple Pocket, which is a complete in box Japanese version. Of course, it's all in Japanese, so I can't really figure it out. I'll have to look something up and see exactly how it's played, because I don't understand what's going on entirely. And then, of course, our complete in-box Pokemon Gold, which I, again, got for a fantastic price. One of the things that we're looking to do is we're looking to get If possible, all the Pokemon games, core Pokemon games, that is, complete in box. Not the side stuff like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and Pinball and all those other goofball games that are spin-offs of the series. We're looking for like red and blue and yellow, if we could get those complete in box. Gold, silver, and crystal out of that series, and so on and so forth. So we got a nice array of units in each one of these. It's actually kind of nice collection that we've got rounding out. Obviously, a couple of them are underrepresented, and a couple of them we definitely have work to do, but definitely these two on the bottom, we've got a pretty good thing going. It's really annoying that we haven't been able to get the Kiwi color. That has just eluded us for far too long, and it's driving us nuts that we're missing that one standard US color. Two more on the advances, but, you know, it's not really that big of a deal. We're actually intentionally trying to get these for cheap. We're not looking to spend tons of money just for the sake of having them. We're looking to just get good working examples, decent enough condition, but we're not looking to just throw money at these things willy-nilly. Definitely some work to do on the DMGs, since we only have two of the Play It Loud series colors. We're still missing, trying to think, yellow, clear, those are both available in the US. There's also a blue, which I believe was UK only. Sorry, the warp drive of my heater is starting up right now, so there's going to be a lot of background noise in a minute. And then there's also white, which is actually worth a pretty sizable amount of money. There's been a couple of red ones that I've seen with the Manchester United logo that I've really wanted to get a hold of, but they just go for way too much money. Pockets, there's a lot of ground to cover. We're missing most of the core colors. We're just we're waiting on a blue and a black. But we're still missing a whole bunch. As far as standard colors, I'm trying to think of what we're missing. Red and yellow are certainly two major colors that we don't have on hand. There's a mirror screen, mirror bordered screen, silver, that would be nice to have. There's a couple of other really interesting ones that we'd like to get, but there's a lot of variants on the Game Boy Pocket, and it's going to take quite a while to get a hold of those. Color's ridiculous. There are so many variants, and so many variants that are actually quite expensive. The Pokemon ones usually command very high prices. There's some other really interesting ones. Some cool clear ones. There's like a really light blue clear. I believe it's called Ice Blue. That's really nice. There's also a clear orange that has a clear black back, which is really nifty. Those are two that we would really like to try to get a hold of. The really cool Pocket is the glow-in-the-dark version, which the last time I saw one, it was complete in box. There's only 2,000 of them made, and it was going for $1,300. I don't think we're getting that one, because that's a bit insane. We are not spending that kind of money on this stuff. Absolutely not. Definitely some interesting colors that we've gotten a hold of. Again, the Pokemon ones we're pretty proud of. The advances, you've also got the Pokemon problem, where they did make a few Pokemon variants, but again, they just command ridiculously high prices, and it's just kind of a shame because they're so difficult to acquire just because they want so much money. You'll notice, again, we only have the one Micro, which is just the standard black with a different faceplate on it. Only one we got so far. Those are kind of expensive, largely because they really weren't popular. So two that we're missing. No Game Boy Lights. Those are Japan only. Basically a Game Boy Pocket-shaped unit, but slightly larger, basically the size of a Game Boy Color. Ran on 2 AA's. Has a switchable backlight. Kind of looks like an Indigo backlight like you get on a digital wristwatch. And because they're Japan only and came out around the same time as the Game Boy Color, there's not really a lot of them in circulation, and since they're all imported, they all tend to be kind of expensive, which is a bit lousy. And then no SPs, because again, SPs for some inexplicable reason are expensive. You're spending, you get them on eBay, it's like a minimum of $50 unless you get lucky. And those, my god, there's like over 50 different variants on the SP between special editions and the like. So we're holding off on the SPs, we're really concentrating on the Advance and Prior. Yes, we have the one Micro, we're not really pushing to get the different Micros. So really just DMGs, Pockets, Colors, Advances. Eventually we'll try to get a couple of Game Boy Lights and see what we can do there. But this is really the main focus of what we're doing. We're worried about hardware first and foremost, and software is secondary. Now, a couple of things there with the Game Boy cameras and then those few games that, you know, come with at the very least a manual or a couple of things, which is kind of nice. I've also got over here our binder full of actual games. I don't know how well this is going to be coming out, but this is pretty much what we have for Game Boy titles. Categorized, alphabetized, all that jazz. We're looking to get some more of the multiplayer games. Faceball is an interesting one. Apparently you can do 16-player multiplayer with that game. And it would be really fun to actually figure out how to wire together 16 Game Boys to be able to actually replicate that. We have enough Game Boys to do it, so it would be really fun to make that happen. A couple of titles here. Not really that many multiples, with the sole exception of Tetris, because Tetris is ridiculously common. I believe it is the best-selling game for the classic Game Boy lineup. Next page, of course, we got the black cartridges, which are the color-enhanced games. These are games that could be played on an original Game Boy or a Game Boy Pocket, but would be in the straight black and white. And if you play them on a Game Boy Color, of course, you get a few more colors to pick from. Got a few strictly Game Boy Color games. Pokemon Pinball would be included in this, I believe. Well, you know, actually, I think you can play that one in black and white now that I think about it. These can only be played on a Game Boy Color. You plug these into a Game Boy Pocket or an original Game Boy, and you'll get an error message, basically tell you can't run on it. And then we have our Game Boy Advance games. Not really a ton to pick from on the games, because we haven't really sought out a lot of these. The one thing that I've really been concentrating on is trying to get a hold of as many first-person shooters as I can, because for the most part, they're garbage, and it's just funny. Now, I grew up playing games like Doom on the PC, and it's just, I don't know, I thought it was hilarious that you could get Doom for the Game Boy Advance. And Ballistic X vs. Sever and the original X vs. Sever, which of course is in horrible condition, but hey, I got it for $1, so I'm not going to complain. Doom and Doom 2. I've also got Klonoa, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past with 4 Swords, Madden 2003. That came with one of the Game Boys that we got, so we don't care. Mario Kart Super Circuit, which we're looking to get a second copy of. Mega Man and Base and Mega Man Zero, certainly nice to have, and Mario World, and then Wolfenstein 3D. So I've got, let's see, Wolfenstein 3D, X vs. Sever, Ballistic X vs. Sever, Doom and Doom 2, so 5 first-person shooters. I know there's more to get a hold of. I've been looking at getting Duke Nukem Advance, as well as a couple of others. I can't remember any of the other titles, but I know I found a few other first-person shooters for the system. Ice 9 is another one that, I don't know, it'd just be a funny thing to have. Don't really care about getting them in box because, frankly, they're not important enough. And, yeah, that's pretty much it for the software. Also, for my Glacier Game Boy Advance, I actually still have my light cover, Pelican, which actually, up until I dug this thing out of the box, actually still had the original Pelican battery that came in the package. Of course, there's a little bit of battery corrosion in there as a result, so yeah, it like barely functions as a result. Also got a Game Gear. Don't really care about that. I only have like 6 games for it, and they're all garbage. Also, the speaker doesn't work anymore, and I haven't yet cracked the thing open to figure out if I can actually fix it. But that's pretty much everything that we have to show as far as this collection is concerned. Pretty excited about it. We've put a good amount of work into it. We've managed to acquire a bunch of stuff, and the collection is growing. Still got a few more coming, and there's going to be plenty more after that. And as we get more, we'll probably post videos of them. Also important to note, every single one of these units is fully functioning. Well, 2 of them have some iffy speakers, but otherwise are fully functional. The speakers do actually work, but they just don't work at full volume. And they all have the battery covers, because if it doesn't have a battery cover, it's worthless to me. But that about sums it up. So, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed seeing our little collection going here. And I'll see you guys soon.